Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your November 2019 mid-month general readings. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Welcome to any newcomers and first-timers, and welcome back to followers and subscribers. Always a pleasure, and thank you so much for all of your likes, shares, subscribes, and support, feedback, and comments. Always welcome. Thank you. So this reading is for the water sign of Scorpio for the last half of November. I am coming to you once again from my bare walls in Poland and Eastern Europe. But the next time you see me, I will be back home in the States, back in California at my other home, because I split my time between Europe and the States, where I will be for a little while. I'm not quite sure how long. So I will be posting these tonight and flying out tomorrow. So I'll see you from my California background the next time I see you. So always a journey in my life, going from place to place as I love to do. All right, enough about me. Let's get right into this reading. So this is for the water sign of Scorpio for the last half of November. That's Scorpio Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus, or if you are cross-watching for a Scorpion. But of course, as most of you know, general readings, there's many of you watching, so they're always going to resonate a little differently for everyone, which is why we always advise you watch your other signs as well for additional clarification. And if any of you are interested in reaching out to me for a personal one-on-one reading, live or recorded, you can click on the description link below for more contact and contact details and info, and you can also email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. I can usually get readings out within as timely a fashion as possible because I do readings full-time 5 to 6 days a week, so I'm pretty diligent at working with everyone's schedules, and I can usually do it fairly well. So if you're interested, send me an email. We'll go from there. I offer a wide variety of readings in all areas of life. Okay, Scorpio, our deep, intense Scorpios. Let's see what the last half of November is holding for you. I am using the Gilded Tarot by artist Ciro Marchetti, one of my favorite beloved decks for general readings. Okay. All right, Scorpio, we begin, maybe, with the High Priestess, followed by the Seven of Wands, holding firm to what you know to be true for you. We have the King of Wands, followed by the Nine of Swords, and from the bottom of the deck, the overall energy for the last half of November is the Hermit. Interesting. So it looks like you're definitely holding firm to something that your intuition is leading you on, that's saying this is true, regardless of external events, situations, people's opinions, whatever. The High Priestess is about walking in faith, your faith, listening to your intuition, listening to what you feel guided, your messages from Spirit in a variety of different forms, and following the path that you've been led on, regardless of whether it coincides or agrees with external situations or other people. And you are standing very firm on that here with the Seven of Wands, which is a card of standing firm, protecting, guarding, and defending something you have a lot invested in, whether it's an actual thing, belief system, ideology, person, yourself, etc. But I think here, because it's clarified by the High Priestess and you have the Hermit, this is some kind of belief system or ideology that you're refusing to back down from, because it's like, you know, this is what I believe in, this is what I stand on, this is my faith, etc. So because of that, overall energy is the Hermit. Walking maybe a solitary path, maybe spending a little bit more time alone. The positive aspect to the Hermit, though, although it can be a bit of a lonely time, is that the Hermit does this for a reason. I mean, what do hermits do? Monks, monastics. They withdraw for a time from the external distractions of normal day-to-day world and life. Why do they do this? They do this in order to get quiet their mind, quiet their external environment, so that they can gain more insight and clarity and wisdom on something, which they will then use, represented by this light, to help guide them through something, or help them see something. So that's really the beautiful positive aspects of the Hermit. Even though sometimes it can represent, well, always, this is something we do on a solitary path. While we may have people loving and caring for us, there are parts of the path that we have to walk kind of on our own in doing this and come to, with the exception of God's Spirit, your angels and guides, of course. So it's about taking a step back, maybe withdrawing a little bit, being kind of quiet because you're seeking some wisdom, insight, guidance, and you're walking forward with what you know to be true. And it could be, religious, spiritual, faith-based as well. And then we have this King of Swords, whom is either stressing out quite a bit with a Nine of Swords, fear of the future, or you're stressing out about this King of Wands, which could be Leo, Aries, Sagittarius person, sun, moon, or rising, showing up as a male, but it's a general reading, could be female. It makes me wonder if some of you are in a relationship with a Leo or an Aries, because something about those readings also were kind of similar. Lots of stubbornness and people walking away for what they feel is right and somebody else wanting to go after them, but pride and stubbornness kind of getting in the way. So maybe that's the case for some of you. Let's first pull a clarifying card for the Hermit. Yeah, I feel like this is relationship based, although it may not be a romantic relationship for some of you. The Three of Swords. Aw. So this is clarifying the Hermit. So there's some heartbreak, emotional pain, maybe a breakup. This is what you're kind of walking through. But again, the positive aspect too of this is that the Hermit is seeking clarification, insight, wisdom, or validation of the choices he's made. Perhaps you were the one that initiated, this, and you're doing it because of something that you need to do, because you're holding fast on something that you need, that you want, that you have to live, that you have to walk, that the other person is not agreeing on. So we have this King of Wands and this Nine of Swords, all the stress, anxiety, fear, often of the future, but being so stressed out that you can't see that the answer, wisdom, solution is very close at hand. Some of you, this may be your feelings about this King of Wands individual. It might be this King of Wands individual, how they feel about this whole situation. Let's pull a clarifying card for that. Holy cow. So, wow, that's kind of interesting. Pretty clear too. The Four of Pentacles came out to clarify this King of Wands and Nine of Swords. And this is exactly how it came out. It fell out exactly sideways on top of the King of Wands. So I think that for many of you, this stress and anxiety and not being able to see the forest for the trees, I think for many of you, although you might have a lot of fear and anxiety about this whole situation, perhaps some of you have broken up with the King of Wands even though you didn't want to, because of some reason that you have to hold fast to. Fill in the blank. It could be many things. Could be moral, ethical, spiritual. Maybe you want to get married and they don't, like Leo or something, into a similar situation. The Four of Pentacles is a card of holding on very tightly out of fear, usually. I see this card come up often when somebody's lost quite a bit or experienced a lot of loss in their life. They cling very tightly to what makes them feel safe, stable, and secure, kind of closed off and guarded, not wanting to relax or let it down a little bit, or be willing to share too much because they're afraid of loss, of re-experiencing loss. Pentacles is governed by the element of earth, and it's often about the things in the physical structure of our life, or whatever makes us feel safe, solid, secure, sometimes money, finances, tangible things, or whatever, or independence, not being committed. This fell out sideways right on the King of Wands. So I think some of you are either in a relationship with a King of Wands individual or somebody who manifests like the King of Wands. I think that maybe you've made the decision to separate or have a separation or break up, and they are still kind of holding fast on something, but they are questioning it too and stressed out about it. Should I continue to hold on to this perhaps belief system or ideology I have, or should I not? And feeling a lot of stress, anxiety, and worry, which I hate to see the Nine of Swords for anybody, but sometimes this is what prompts clarity, precedes clarity and change. often. I mean, sometimes we human beings are creatures that learn usually through some difficulty and challenge. Not always, but often, because, well, we're stubborn that way sometimes. So for you, Scorpio, let us see what advice Spirit might have for you on how best to navigate this situation through the last half of November, which is a relatively short period of time. So what advice for Scorpio for the last half of November, how best to navigate through this? Yeah, it's coming out quite clear. The Hanging Man. The Hanging Man doesn't do anything. But that actually is, in a sense, from one perspective, making an active choice. He hangs upside down in what appears to be an awkward or uncomfortable position, which is kind of symbolic of the difficulty in not involving himself. So perhaps, even though you're doing the right thing, let's take a breakup, for example, because it's not, maybe the relationship wasn't what you wanted, you could try to change it, couldn't, the other person doesn't maybe hold with the same things or whatever. You've made the decision to separate, and even though you know it's the right thing, there are times when maybe you feel prompted to go back, to second guess yourself, to want to go in and manipulate a maneuver and force some kind of change or outcome or rush something. The hanging upside down in perhaps an uncomfortable position can be symbolic of the decision to not act for the time being, which is difficult, but it's transitional and temporary. It can represent a smaller sacrifice now for greater rewards later on. While you're in this position, you're watching things play out, because there's also a sense of not everything being known or clear yet, and you're kind of watching things play out maybe from a distance. And also perhaps gaining different perspective from this position than you would have if you'd have been just right in there kind of banging things around, It can be a difficult card to hold to, but it typically is pretty transitional and temporary. So in terms of advice from Spirit for the last half of November, it represents maintaining what you've chosen, not getting involved or making action or going back into the situation for this period of time, because it looks like the other person or the other side of this is going through their own challenging but necessary kind of potential growth and change and transformation too, as well as you are gaining wisdom and insight and having that validated, even though it hurts. So Scorpio, that is your reading for the last half of November. I hope you found it, perhaps if not, happy. I mean, they all just can't come out that way because that's not life. But I hope you found it helpful, useful, gave you some food for thought. If this reading resonated for you, or if any of the readings resonate for you, and you are interested in reaching out for a more personal one-on-one reading, just click on the description link below for more info and contact details. Email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. That link is also provided. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the December 2019 general readings, where my background will be different again. In the meantime, I wish you much joy, love, peace, wisdom, and healing. And for those of you for whom it is relevant, I wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. Take care. Hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.